What's up YouTube? Today I'm going to show you how you can create this Miss Claus design. Now as always there's links to everything you're going to need in the description down below, and once you grabbed everything we can get started. So to get started I've created a 2000 by 2000 canvas and I've added in this very simple guide. It's just going to help us lay out our design, and to do that I've got a helpful blog post over on my website. I'll leave a link to it in the description down below on how you can go up to your actions and hit add and insert the guide from whether it's your files or your photos, wherever you saved it. Now in my layers, I've got the guide at the top and I've got a background color of white. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to first of all create our first few shapes for our subject here. So in the palette, which again there'll be a link to in the description down below, we're going to go ahead and get started with the skin tones, which the first one will be this one here, the top of the third column here. And we're going to go to our brush library, we're going to go to the option of calligraphy, and we're going to use the monoline brush. And if we tap on the monoline brush and we go to stabilization, I've set the streamline up to max. Stabilization is around about 50%, just so we can get some nice, super smooth lines, and hit done when you're done. Now tapping away. The other thing we're going to go ahead and introduce is a drawing assist. We don't need it necessarily right now, but we're going to go ahead and turn it on anyway. So we're going to go up to our actions, we're going to go to canvas, and we're going to turn on a drawing guide. We're going to edit that drawing guide and we're going to use the option of symmetry, and the option is set to vertical. Now I've set my line to red running down the middle here. You can set it to whatever color you like using this slider at the top and using these sliders here to adjust the color strength of it. It's not really vital that you can see it, but when you hit done, you should have a vertical line running down the middle. And now what we do on some layers that are drawing assisted will be reflected on the others. Now, if we go to our layers, we're going to go ahead and create a new layer. We're going to make sure it's not drawing assisted. You'll know that because our guide has now turned to assisted, not that it matters. And we've got an empty layer above. Now we're going to go ahead and start off by drawing in the face. Now we're looking at this horizontal line here and this horizontal line here. That's our guide for the face, as well as these indicators over here on the sides to let us know sort of the width. I always create a guide just in case you want to sort of match up perfectly to mine. If you are not using the guide, just go ahead and try and follow for perspective in terms of how big it is on the canvas. So I'm going to go ahead and draw in an ellipse that's going to be a little bit sort of wider than this. Hold my pen down at the end to get a nice perfect one, and also we won't hold our finger on the screen because it will just snap to a circle because I made it too round. But we'll make it a little bit taller than it needs to be, that's fine. We'll drag and drop the colour in. We'll go ahead and go to our layer, we'll drag that layer underneath the guide because we want to see those anchor points on the guide itself. We're going to go to the option of adjustment, we're going to go to liquify, and we're going to use the option of push. And we're going to use a varying amount of size. It's totally dependent on your canvas size. Now I'm going to make the brush size a little bit larger, up to around about maybe 40%, because we need to just make some kind of larger adjustments. The first one being is just bringing in sort of the chin and the jaw here. So I'm trying to push up the bottom here to match up to that point, and then we'll bring in the sides as well. So this is where we're sculpting the face. We've got our cheekbones that are going to sit out here, as well as the chin at the bottom. And we don't want to give her too much of a sort of flat chin at the bottom. It needs to be kind of pointy and a little bit sort of dainty, so we get that feminine sort of aesthetic. Now just pushing inwards a little bit. I'm also going to go ahead and up the top here, just push in a little bit here, sort of towards the temple area. I'm going to bring that point down a little bit, and I'm going to repeat on the opposite side. I'm going to bring that in a tiny bit. It does not need to be symmetrical. I'm just going to bring that down, try and create these little cheekbone areas there, and just tinker. You can always come back and adjust it if you want to at a later stage, but we're just going to bring in the jaw there just a tiny bit. Little sort of adjustments here will make quite the difference to your subject in the end. So we're going to go with a little bit of a shape like this. In fact, we could probably round it just the tiniest bit, but something like this just to get us started. And then we will tap on our adjustments when we're done. And we're going to carry on drawing in all the basic shapes first of all. So we're going to go to our layers. We'll rename this layer if you want to. You can call it face. We'll create a new layer, drag it underneath the face. We're going to tap on this layer and we're going to use the drawing assist. So we're going to tap on it and use the drawing assist. Our brush again can be the monoline brush. We're going to go ahead and draw in the neck now. And the neck is just going to be as simple as two sort of very quite narrow lines really. We're just going for quite a cartoony look to it. So something down to around about sort of here, with a little bit more sort of width at the bottom, and you can link them up at the bottom and also underneath the face, and just drop the color in like so. And then from there you can go ahead and sort of curve outwards until you get to sort of this point here, And then from there, you can go ahead and just create this sort of rounded chest area here and drag and drop the color in. We'll then go ahead, and while we're here at the bottom, let's go ahead and create a new layer. We'll go to our colors. We're going to go ahead and add in the white sort of accents for the outfit. So we're going to grab the top of the 4th column here. We'll go to the layer. We'll also tap on it and we will drawing assist it. We're going to add in 2 little accents here on the neck. So we're going to create like a collar kind of effect. So we're just going to create a little bit of a bumpy, wobbly shape and create this little sort of neck piece here and drag and drop the color into those areas. You can make that a little bit larger potentially in a moment when we get into setting the background. And in fact, let's go to our background color. Let's grab the color here in the top right of the palette for the moment and hit done so we can see those white areas. And we'll keep it on the same layer. We'll go ahead and draw in a little bit of the neckline of the outfit as well. So we're going to go ahead and start roughly over here. Just going to create like a bumpy, wobbly shape. It's up to you how sort of low cut you want to make that. And just make that a little bit larger and bring that in. See, I'm creating nice wobbly lines here. And then from there, we'll then go ahead and create another new layer. Drag it underneath, tap on it, and also drawing assist it too. Go to your colors and we'll go ahead and we'll grab the top color here in the 1st column and we'll create the shoulder, which is just going to make its way out from here and then down into this point here. And you can go ahead and go from the top up here underneath the white area to the opposite side. So you can drag and drop the color into this space here. Now from there, we'll separate the chest from the arm as well. So we'll go ahead and create another new layer. We'll go ahead and tap on this and make sure it's also drawing assisted. And we'll go to our colors. We will grab the bottom color here in that 1st column. And we're going to go ahead and create sort of a curve that's going to match up to the arm and run up into sort of the armpit area, roughly around about here. So we're just going to create this sort of shape here. And then from there, you're just going to create a curve like so. And then you should be able to drag and drop the color in. And if you take a look at the opposite side, you should now have been able to separate the arms from the chest. And then it's up to you. You can maybe sort of, again, liquefy that, adjust the shape if needs be. There'll probably be some tinkering towards the end. Next, let's go ahead and just adjust some of the shapes here in the actual head so that we can move on into adding in such things as the hat. So we're going to go ahead and create a new layer above the face. We're going to go to our colors. We're going to go ahead and grab the top color here in the 1st column. We're then going to go ahead and create the hat. Now we're going to create lots of shapes here and they'll slowly come together. So we'll create another new layer. We'll go to our colors. We're going to go ahead and grab the top of the 4th column. We're going to go back to the layer though. We will tap on it and we will drawing assist it just for a moment. And we're going to create the arc that's going to sort of have the white fluffy area of the hat. And you want sort of the white area to exceed the width of the head by a good little margin so we can let some hair flow in. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start sort of over here with a sort of wobbly line. That's going to be sort of the height of the fluffy area. I'm going to lean it inwards a tiny bit. And then from the bottom, we're going to go ahead and create more wobbly lines up towards here, pretty much running on towards that line there. And then just create, again, another wobbly line over the top and drag and drop the color in. Now, what we can also then do is we can tap on this layer and turn off the drawing assist so that we can go in here now with an even slightly larger brush size, maybe around about sort of 30, and you can make some unique shapes to either side of this. So you can just update sort of one side, to be honest, and it'll update, of course, by making sure it's unique compared to the original one. Just a little something like this. We're then going to go ahead and draw in the hat. So we'll go to our layers, we'll go down a layer again, create another new layer. So we're underneath that white that we just created. We're going to go ahead and go to our colors and grab the top color here in the 1st column. We're going to draw in an arc here for the top of the hat, and the hat's going to sort of finish over here somewhere. Just a little bit astray from the head. So what we can do is we can simply just go ahead and start here and just create a bit of an arc that runs all the way up and across and over towards this side like this. And then you can go ahead and from this right side, just create an arc that runs down into that point. And you can hold your pen down to create a nice smooth arc and then link them together and drag and drop the color in. And then we'll go down, we'll go back, should I say, to the white layer here of our hat. We'll go to our color and grab that white at the top of the 4th column. And we'll go ahead and just create a fluffy little ball here as well. Nice wobbly circle, basically. And then from there, because we've now got our hat, we can go ahead and just make it a little bit wider. So you can just make it a little bit wider than the hat, sort of the red area of it, like so. And I'll thicken this up across the bottom as well. I'm going to thicken that up along here, like so, making it a little bit larger. So we started off with a slightly smaller shape than we needed, and now we can expand on it. From here, let's go ahead and add in the rest of the hair. So we're going to go to our layers. We're going to go ahead and go down underneath the face. So we're going to go down just underneath the face and create a new layer. We're going to go to our colors and we're going to grab the top of the second column. We also want to go ahead and tap on this layer and drawing assist it. And we're going to go ahead and add in the hair. Now the hair itself is split up into 3 different layers. So with a brush size around about I'm going to go down to the smallest size, in fact, down to a 1%. We're going to create the sort of widest area of hair. It's going to be sort of the widest area of the hat as well. And you're just going to come around here, down into a point, and then down from here, we'll just create a bit of a curl that runs all the way back up and in behind the head. So we'll create a little bit of a curl up here and go all the way around to your starting point so that you can drag and drop the color in. Let's then go ahead and create another layer for the hair. So we'll go to our layers. We'll go down to the white area underneath and create a new layer. We'll tap on the layer and drawing assist it. And we'll go ahead and we will create another curl. It's going to run from around about here. So I'm going to start over here. I'm going to just leave a tiny little gap between the two of them. A little something like this. And then go all the way around to my starting point and drag and drop the color in. We're then going to go ahead and go down a layer again, create a new layer, tap on it and drawing assist it. And we're just going to block in the back area of the hair. So starting sort of around about here, we're just going to go ahead and curl the hair around. And because we're in front of the neck at the minute, you can see it, but we're going to go all the way around from edge to edge, drag and drop the color in, and then drag that, which now looks like a beard, underneath all of the layers at the very back. So now it's just going to sit at the very back there, and you've now hidden that big bunch of hair. Now there is another layer we need to go ahead and make. So we're going to go ahead and go just here, just underneath our face. We're going to go ahead and create a new layer that sits underneath the face. And for a minute, I'm just going to go to the colors and grab a slightly different blue, the middle color of the second column, because we're going to go ahead and create another layer that's going to sit here. It's going to run from just underneath here and then down into this point here, and then up and link around. So drag and drop the color in. So now that we've drawn that in, we can see it. Let's go ahead and change the color. So we'll go to our colors and grab the top color here in the second column and drag and drop it into there for a moment. Now at this point, I just want to make a minor adjustment to the face. We're going to probably make adjustments as we go. I'm going to grab the face. I'm going to go to adjustments and liquefy. And now that I've drawn in the hair, I can get an idea for the rest of the shape of the face. And I'm just going to bring that in a little bit on the sides there, just to sort of bring the face in, narrow it down a little bit more. And just bring that in. You can make adjustments as you go, that's perfectly fine. And tap on your adjustments when you're done. And then from here, we now need to go ahead and start drawing in the face. So we're going to go to our layers, making sure we're on the face. We're going to create a new layer. We're going to draw the mouth in to start with. So we're going to go to our colors. We're going to go ahead and grab this color here, the top of the 6th column there. And our brush is now going to switch. I'm going to switch it into inking in the Studio Pen. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to draw in the mouth. Now this anchor here is actually the center of the mouth. So just above it, we're going to go ahead and create a lovely little arc, a little bit wider than the neck. So we're just going to create the top of the mouth, creating an arc, and you can hold your pen down if you want to. You could edit it, maybe move that marker towards the middle and up a tiny bit. And in fact, I'm going to move it down just to give a little bit more expression. And then if we zoom in, we're just going to go ahead and just create a lovely little smile that sort of falls down from underneath. So we're just going to go ahead and just create a little sort of small little smile here and then up into the side there. And then you can go ahead and go to your colors, grab the top color here in the 7th column and drag and drop it into that space. And you've created your mouth for your subject. Now the next point to do is the nose. So we're going to go to our layers. We're going to create another new layer. We're going to go to our colors and grab the bottom color here in the 3rd column. And your brush wants to be set back to calligraphy and the monoline brush. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to draw in a circle here. Pop your finger on the screen to make sure it's a nice perfect circle. Something size-wise like this is pretty good. Drag and drop the color in. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to our cursor and the warp option. And we're going to drag out the top because we want to kind of create like a triangle. So we're going to bring in the bottom here and we're going to create the top as a bit more of a point and flatten the bottom, essentially. So just creating like a little bit of a triangle shape, and then just tap away with your cursor when you're done. You should end up with a little nose shape. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go to our layers, we're going to swipe it to the left and duplicate it. We're going to grab the top one out of those two. We're going to go to our colors and grab the top color here that matches the skin tone of the face, the top of the third column, and drag and drop it into the nose shape. Then the one underneath, the darker one, grab your cursor, use the uniform option and just make it a little bit larger until you get an outline of the nose. And then tap on your cursor when you're done until you get this little outline here. Then what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go to our layers. We're going to create another new layer for a moment. We're going to go to our selection tool. We're going to go to our colors and grab the bottom color here of the third column. Going to make sure color fill is turned on so it looks like this, nice and blue, and you've got the rectangle option. And sort of matching up a little bit to the width of the nose, you're going to draw up towards this marker here and draw in a box and let go, and then tap on your selection tool when you're done. We're then going to grab our eraser, tap on the eraser and use the soft airbrush under airbrushing. With about sort of a 2% brush size, we can just blend out the top here. So we can just very lightly create a nice blend out of the color at the very top. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to use the cursor warp tool, and we're going to bring in all the nodes a little bit. So we're going to bring in the top nodes here, making the bridge of the nose a little bit narrower. So the top third's been made nice and narrow. The bottom third, grabbing this sort of point here and dragging that in, also needs to be a little bit narrower. And you're just going to need to warp these lines until we end up with a quite symmetrical looking shape here, where we just curve the nose up, make it a little bit narrower, and we can just move around some of these nodes until we get to a point where we're happy with the nose and how we've made it a little bit narrower. You may need to bring these points up as well so that they just link onto that dark outline of the nose until you create something like this. Now you just want to sort of make sure it's nice and sort of mirrored and making sure it's nice and symmetrical. That's what I'm pretty much looking for at this point. Just trying to see if it's nice and symmetrical. If I tap on my cursor and zoom out, I should have a very simple looking nose effect. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go to our layers. We're going to pinch the bridge of the nose and that little outline together onto the same layer. And I'm going to tap on the layer for a moment and I'm going to alpha lock it so I can't paint outside of it. I'm going to just change the color of it to the color here at the bottom of the fourth column. And go back to the layer, tap on it and fill it. So I've just filled it now with a slightly darker tone just to get the center of the nose. Let's then move on to adding in some eyes. So let's go to our layers now. We're going to go ahead and you can pinch those two layers together if you want for your nose. You can just bring them together. We're going to go ahead and create a new layer. We're going to go to our colors. We're going to go ahead and grab the color here at the top of the fourth column. We're going to zoom in, and in this area over here, we're going to go ahead and create our eye. So our brush still should be set to the monoline brush, which it is. The top of the line here is the top of the eye. This is the sort of corner of the eye. So we're going to go ahead and make something that droops down below this line. So we're going to go ahead and draw in a circle of sort, pop our finger on the screen. We will create a circle and then we're just going to move it around and tweak it. So we're going to create quite a creepy looking eye there at the moment. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and grab our adjustments. We're going to go to liquify. We're going to use the push again, and we're just going to move this around until we're happy with the shape of it. Now we're primarily focusing a little bit more towards the bottom of the eye. We're going to bring the eye across a little bit. I'm going to make it a little bit wider. And I'll put on the screen here what the final goal is for the eye anyway. So you can just sort of make your way towards that as a sort of goal. So I'm just going to bring this down a little bit. And by sort of bringing down this sort of top left area of the eye, I'm slowly creating the corner of it. And then over here on the right, we want to kind of flatten it in a little bit. At the same time, I want to flatten the bottom as well, because we create this kind of little corner down here almost. So that's actually looking pretty good in terms of the shape for the eye. Positioning wise, it just needs to be moved, but that's looking pretty good. So I'm going to leave it like that. And I'm going to tap on my adjustments when I'm done. Now I'm actually going to go to my cursor and grab the uniform option and just make it a little bit bigger and a little bit off towards the right hand side here. So just a little bit beyond sort of the corner here of the mouth is where I want to move it to. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so we can make that nice cartoony look to it. and tap on my cursor when I'm done. Let's then go ahead and create the eyelashes. So we'll create a new layer. We're going to go to our colors and grab the dark color here, the top of the 6th column. And your brush wants to be set to the Studio Pen again under inking. So inking, the size for it is 6%. And we're going to go ahead and outline the eye to start with and create a lovely flick that's going to be our first eyelash. So starting down here, just a little bit towards the corner, we're going to go ahead and just start really light with our pressure, come down to around about here and then flick off to create the very first eyelash. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and create 1, 2, 3, and 4 extra additional eyelashes, all in a bit of a sort of fashion where they're slowly getting a little bit smaller off towards the left hand side. And then you may want to just bulk out the line over here of this a little bit more over towards this right side and the top of the eyelid a little bit, like so. Now, of course, we're doing one eye at a time. We'll just simply duplicate this in a minute and move it across to the opposite side. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to our layers. We're going to go down to the white area of the eye and create another new layer. We're going to go to our colors and we're going to grab the green here at the top of the 5th column. We'll go back to our monoline brush under calligraphy and we're going to go ahead and draw in a nice beautiful green eye in the center here. So we're going to start over here and we're going to draw in a bit of a circle or an ellipse, either. I'm going to draw in an ellipse to start with, a little bit for scale like this, and drag and drop the color in. And then from there, we're just going to grab our cursor. You could use the warp tool if you wanted to, and we can just drag it, making it a little bit sort of a triangular shape, almost a little bit larger towards the top, leaving a little bit of a tiny gap here, only the tiniest little gap at the top, and then a little one towards the bottom as well, just so we get some nice white area in here. I'm going to move it across to the left a tiny bit. And of course, I could move the layer as well in a moment till we get something like this for a shape. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my uniform option, just move it a tiny bit up towards the left-hand side a bit more. Of course, we'll need to zoom out and make sure it's looking straight at us, which it is. So we'll tap on our cursor when we're done. We'll then go ahead and create the pupil. So we'll create another new layer. And at this point, you can go ahead and swipe on the top, the eyelashes, the new empty layer, the green layer, and also the white layer, and group them together. You can rename this and call it eye. And then we'll go back to our empty layer here. We'll go to our colors and grab that dark color here at the top of the 6th column. We've still got the monoline brush selected. You could duplicate the green and make it a bit smaller, but we'll just manually draw in a pupil here. And we'll draw in a perfect sort of ellipse, drag and drop the color in. Taking a look by zooming out, that's looking a little bit too upwards. So we'll grab our cursor, we'll move it down a little bit more, leaving a little bit of a gap. It's all about zooming out and taking a look. Now that looks pretty good to me. I'm very happy with that. We're going to go ahead then and start to add some color to this eye and also adjust a little bit of the sort of aspects of it. So we're going to go down to the white first. We'll tap on it and we will alpha lock it for a moment so we can't paint outside of it. We're going to go to our colors. We're going to go ahead and we're going to grab this color here at the bottom of the 5th column. We're going to go to our brush, going to go to airbrushing and the soft brush. Bring that size right down, something maybe around about sort of 2%. And then just a tiny bit sort of around this pupil, just introduce this a little additional sort of change in the color tone. So just a little bit towards the bottom edge here, like so, and up underneath the eyelashes there. So a little bit under here too. So just a little bit around here and a little bit towards the top. We're then going to go ahead and go back to the layer, tap on it and turn off the alpha lock. Go back to our colors and grab the top of the 4th column. And with our brush set back to the option of inking and the Studio Pen, we're just going to go ahead and sort of outline the bottom of the eye again and just create this little sort of flick off here. And if you zoom out, it should just help sort of identify the eye shape a little bit more. And you can also go ahead and sort of wrap that line down here as well if you just want to outline the eye, depending on if you've added in enough color in the top area. Let's then add in some color to the eye in the green area. So we'll tap on the green, we'll tap on it and we will alpha lock it. We'll go to our colors. We'll grab the dark tone here just beside the green, so the top of the 6th column. We'll go to our brush and we'll set the airbrushing to the medium brush this time. We'll set the opacity to 60% and the size is set to 1. We could probably go a little bit larger, but 1 will be fine for a minute. And we're just going to sort of darken up over the top of the green area of the eye, and it will slowly maybe sort of blend a little bit towards sort of the pupil color. And that's not too bad either. We don't mind that at all. And it's set to 60%, so you can just build up the color and just create a little bit of a sort of transition of the color downwards. We're then going to go to our layers. We're going to create another new layer. We're going to tap on it and clip it to the green. And we're going to change the blend mode from normal to add. If we then go back to our colors and we grab the green at the top of the 5th column, I'm going to go ahead and in this sort of area here, we're just going to build up some green color, and it's going to get a little bit more colorful, a little bit more punchy in here. And because it's set to 60%, you can build up that color stroke after stroke, building up the color in this corner of the eye. And we can just slowly create a lovely looking bright eye. Now, you could create another layer if you wanted to, set to add, and really punch out this corner of the eye. It's totally up to you how much color you want to add. If you were to do so, you just create another one, tap on it, clipping mask it, and change the blend mode again from normal to add. And then maybe just sort of punch out, maybe like just down here a little bit more, and just blend it into the rest of the green. I wouldn't do all of it, just a tiny bit in like one area, primarily this corner, just to really brighten up that eye. Now, if we also then go ahead and we tap above the pupil, we'll create a new layer. We'll go to our colors and we'll grab the top of the 4th column, and we'll add in a lovely little sort of highlight here on the top of the eye. And we're going to add that just over here. Same brush, and I've just gone over it a couple of times just to build up the color until we create this awesome little sort of reflection in the eye. Now, it's totally up to you. You can make one that's nice and faint like that and kind of has a bit of a sort of blending to it. Or you could just simply go ahead and make the brush opacity back up to 100% and create like a bit more of a cartoony little sort of dash up on the top of the eye. Now I'm going to roll with the sort of dash that I've just created there instead. And now from this point, we can go ahead and duplicate the eye and move it across. So we're going to go ahead and go to our eye. We're going to collapse it down. When you're done with it, you can tap on it and flatten it. If you're not quite done with it or you're not quite sure yet, just simply go ahead and swipe it to the left for a moment and duplicate it, and tap on the group and flatten it down. Then grab your cursor, flip it horizontal and move it across. Now make sure down here snapping is turned on. That will let you know if you hit these lines here that you've moved it perfectly horizontal across the face, because you've got the 3 horizontal blue lines. So it's matching up perfectly to the other eye on the other side. And if you sort of let go, making sure you've kind of matched up to sort of the width of the face, tap on your cursor when you're done and zoom out, you should have these awesome cartoony eyes. Now from there, we're also going to go ahead and add in some rosy cheeks. So we'll go to our layers. If you're done with the other eye and you're completely done with it, just simply tap on it and flatten it. We're going to go down to the face. We'll tap on it and we'll alpha lock it just in case. And we'll go to our colors. We're going to go ahead and grab this middle color here in the 3rd column. And your brush wants to be set to the soft brush under airbrushing. Let's make the brush size something around about, let's go about sort of 3 or 4%. And just underneath the eyes, of course, on the cheeks, we're going to go ahead and add in some color. Now let's actually go back to the layer. Let's tap on it and we'll drawing assist it. And then that way we can do it on both sides at the same time, adding in some lovely rosy cheeks here. Now one thing I want to do now is I want to go back to the nose here. I want to grab the cursor and I want to bring the nose back up onto that marker here. So the nose is a little bit higher. So the bottom of the nose hits that marker there. And then that should just then give me a little bit more of a cartoony look where the nose is slightly, higher and is sort of towards the middle of the eyes almost. I'm going to move it up to the point where I'm happy with it and tap on the cursor when I'm done. Let's then also create some eyebrows. So we'll go to our eyes. We'll go above our eyes and create another new layer. We'll tap on the layer and we'll drawing assist it. And we'll go to our colors. We'll grab that color there at the top of the 6th column. We'll go to our brush. We'll go to the option of the inking again and the studio pen. And we're just going to start over here and we're just going to add in some lovely simple eyebrows there above the eyes. And you should end up with this awesome expression that's really now come to life and we've brought it together with the face. Now, one addition we also need to make is the ears. So we're going to go to our layers. We're going to go ahead and go underneath our face and we're going to create a new layer. We're going to go ahead and go to our colors. We're going to go ahead and grab this color here, the bottom of the 6th column. We're going to go to our brush. We'll go to calligraphy again and the monoline brush. And the size doesn't matter. We're just going to go back to our layer, tap on it and drawing assist it. And we're going to go ahead and create the ears, which are going to run from just on this line here, and we're just going to bring in a little loop down into here, hold your pen down, and then just link them up and drag and drop the colour in. Just a simple little shape for the ears. Now on this side here, we've got a little bit of hair that should sit in front of it. So if I move that across to the side, we had this extra layer that we created. Let's drag that above the ears, and it should then just tuck on top there. I think that just adds in a little bit more depth. Now at this point, we can start to colour in our subject and add in some additional sort of textures. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look first of all at the top of our layers and make our way down. So we've got the white layer here for the top of the hat. All we need to do for this is we're going to tap on the layer, alpha lock it. We'll go to our colours and we're going to grab the middle colour here in the fourth column. Our brush wants to be set to the option of textures and this one here, Kurawong. And we're going to set the size to 3%. And all we're going to do for this is we're going to go around sort of the right hand side and the underside of this white area here, creating hopefully a fluffy shadow almost at the bottom edge. And you can be a little bit lighter and just sort of drag that a little bit higher if needs be, just a little bit, but darken up over here on the right hand side as well. And then we'll move across over to the ball as well, and we will add in a little bit of a shadow underneath there too. Then what we'll do is we'll go to our smudge brush, and we're going to go ahead and we will just use the Blackburn brush under drawing. We'll set the opacity to 100% and bring that size down to about 2%. And using the ball as an example, we're going to smudge the white area into those areas underneath, creating lots and lots of little flicks here and there. Lots and sort of flicks, curves, just creating sort of variation and hopefully creating a bit more of a fluffy look to it when you zoom out, rather than that sort of edgy texture. So let's do the same here, and let's actually bring the opacity down again to 80% on this occasion. And from here, I'm going to go over the top of the darker tone, just creating lots and lots of little flicks and curls like this, lots and lots of them. And hopefully you're just going to almost make it look kind of fluffy by bringing the white over the top and just taking away that sharp edge. It's only subtle, but it's just getting rid of that sharp edge of that texture brush. So a few little curves here. You can make some nice large ones if you want to and flick them in opposite directions to one another. Or something like this. You can see I'm kind of being quite carefree with it. There's not a lot of stress needed for these ones. And over here, I do the same all the way into the corner. And hopefully what that does is that should just bring the white over the top, of course, of the shadow colour and create a little bit more of a fluffy, shadowy edge to our hat. Then we'll go to our layers, and what's the next layer down? It's the hat. Let's tap on the hat and we will alpha lock it. We're going to go up to our colours. We're going to go ahead and grab the bottom colour here in the first column. We're going to go to our brush library. And I'm actually going to use quite an interesting brush for this, which you probably wouldn't have used before, but I'm actually going to use Elements and the Hard Rain brush because I just really like the grain of it. The size is set to 13%, and we're just going to go ahead and first of all shadow the underside of the hat. So we're going to come up here and we're just going to shadow that underside there. We're then going to bring the brush down to maybe around about sort of 6% and just create another little bit here where the top just overlaps and falls over on itself. So we're creating two little simple shapes like this. And we will also create a little bit of a curve at the top here. It's probably going to get lost in a minute with our highlights, but just a little bit of a curve at the top. We're then going to go to our colours and grab the middle colour in that first column. We'll go back to the 13% brush size, and we will brighten up this left edge here and bring that highlight across and over and onto the top of the hat over there. And I'm going to bring that down, and then I'm going to leave a gap, leave that shadow, and then just highlight on the top edge. So we're creating like a little crease there almost in the hat. And you could also go ahead and do that down here. We could set the brush size to about 6% and just push in a little bit of a crease into here and then just leave that. So now you should have some nice sort of layering of your color. You can bring that highlight down this edge as well towards the end. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go to our layers. We'll go down. We've got the hair. Let's start working on the hair. Fantastic. So if we go ahead and we tap on this layer first of all, and we alpha lock it. We're going to go to our colors. We're going to grab this color here, the middle of the second column. We're going to go to our brush. Now for these ones, we're going to texturize them with the soft airbrush and also a hair brush as well. So we're going to go to the airbrushing and the soft brush. Size wise, about sort of, let's go a bit bigger than that. Let's go up to about sort of 5 or 6. And we're going to go ahead and brighten up down here on this edge over here. And we're going to brighten up here and making sure we add in a good amount of color on that edge. We're then going to go ahead and create a new layer in front of it and tap on it and clipping mask it. We're going to go ahead and change the blend mode from normal to add. We're going to go to our brush. We're going to go into the option of materials and the flowing hairbrush. Now make sure if you tap on the flowing hairbrush, we go to the stabilization settings and we set the streamline to max and a really good solid amount of stabilization as well. So we can create some really super smooth lines in there. So 75%. And not a lot of people know that this flowing hairbrush is even here. So let me know in the comments if you did. And we're going to go ahead and go from up here and we're just going to bring some hair along the fringe and down into sort of the corner down here. And you could press a couple of times if you want to create some really nice bright strokes, but something like this will do. Now the next layer to work on is the face. Now it's already alpha locked, but it is assisted. We're going to tap on it and turn off the drawing assist. We're going to go to our colors. We're going to grab the bottom of the third column and we're going to make sure our brush is set to airbrushing and the soft brush. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just create a bit of a shadow underneath that fringe there and up into the corner. So just bring that darkness down and underneath like so, because we've got a bit of a top lighting. And then we're going to go just down the edge of the face and just add in the tiniest little bit down the right hand side of the face and round on towards the chin. And then from there, we're then going to go ahead and go to our layers. We've then got the side area of the hair. We're not interested in that. We've got the ears and then we've got the actual hair, the large areas of it. We'll tap on this layer first of all and we will alpha lock it. So we've got the largest area of hair on the left hand side. We'll go to our colors and grab the middle of the second column. Soft airbrush again. And we're going to go ahead and just go down the outer edge, introducing this brighter blue, round into here. And then we'll bring the brush size down to 3% and just brighten up the point as well on the inside here, just with a little bit of blue. But we'll then also go to our colors and grab the bottom of the second column and darken up under here and around the face. So just blending this out and creating the darker tone up to the face and underneath the hat. Blending that out, just blending that out with the darkness. We can make it a little bit bigger as well. And then we can go ahead and go to our layers. We'll create another new layer, tap on it, clipping mask it, and change the blend mode from normal and change it to add. We're going to tap on the layer and we're going to make sure it's drawing assisted. We're going to go ahead and make sure our color is set then to the middle color in that second column. And our brush needs to go back to the option of materials and the flowing hairbrush. Again, the size is 22%. We're going to go ahead and just come down the hair here, following the curvature of the shape and create some lovely flowing curls in the hair. And just roll inwards. Now we're trying to avoid this on the end though. We don't want them to run too close towards that point. So we're going to come down here again and we're going to stop before it gets too close into there. We're going to come down again, create a little bit of a lighter pressure on this occasion and just create some additional strands maybe on the inside. So you create something like this. Then from there, we're going to go ahead and go to our layers. We're going to go ahead and pinch those two together. We're done with those elements of the hair. We're going to go down to the next curl at the back. We'll tap on it and we'll alpha lock it. We'll go to our colors first of all. We'll grab the dark color at the bottom of the second column. And your brush wants to be set to the option of airbrushing and the soft brush. I'm going to make that brush size around about 6% and just darken up under here, underneath the head where the light's not getting to it at all. It's nice and dark. And then the only thing we'll do on that back area of hair is go to our colors and grab the middle color there in the second column. Brush size around about sort of 3% and just sort of brighten up onto here and then onto that point. That's all we want to do. And then if we go to our layers quickly, and we go right down to the very bottom one, just so we're done with the hair. If we go to this shape here at the back of the neck and go to our colors and grab the bottom of the second column, we'll drag and drop that dark color into there as well. So you get the bright blue on the edges, but nothing on the very back. Now earlier on, we didn't make any adjustments to here, and I do want to make an adjustment to there. I want to go ahead and go to that little piece there on the right hand side. I'm going to grab it, I'm going to tap on it, and I'm going to alpha lock it. I'm going to grab my brush using the soft brush, and we're going to blend out the top area here into the darkness like so. And while we're here, we'll also go ahead and go up to the fringe layer here, and we will also just sort of blend that out and underneath the hat as well, just create a little bit of darkness underneath there. Then when we go back to that side piece there, if we go back down to it, we will go to our colors and we will grab the middle of the second column. We'll go back to the materials brush and the flowing hair, and we'll just add in some very, very light streaks. Notice I've not set this to add, so I'm just adding in some streaks here on the end just to give it some color. Now, taking a look at our design, where are we next? We've got the white areas here on the neck and the chest. So we'll go ahead and we'll tap on it. We'll alpha lock it. We'll repeat the steps we did above. We'll go to our colors. We will grab the color here in the middle of the fourth column. Our brush is then going to be set back to the option under textures of the Karawang. And we're going to go ahead and add in that color underneath here. It's drawing assisted, so that's great. We don't have to do it twice. Make this a little bit larger, adding in a little bit more areas of fluff, hopefully. And we'll do the same under the neck piece as well. We'll go to our smudge tool. We will make sure we do the same. So we're just going to create those lovely little curls and random little flicks, hopefully, of little curls of brighter tone. And you can flick up as well. You can flick the sort of darker area into the white area to create little sort of random flicks and curls, hopefully creating that little bit of a curly look to it and a little bit of a fluffy look. Just some very simple flicks and curls. Zooming out. Let's make sure we do the same over here as well. Little flicks down from the white area down on top of the darker area, and also vice versa. You can push up with some curls and flicks of your shadows. Gonna just curl over the top there and zoom out. Let's then take a look at our layers, and what's the next one? The next one is the chest. So we've done those shadows in place. We'll go down to the actual base shape for the chest and we'll tap on it and we will alpha lock it. We'll go to our colors. We're going to go ahead and we'll grab the shadow color first of all, the bottom of the second column. We're going to go ahead and go to that hard rain brush again. So we're going to go to the option of elements and the hard rain. And we're going to go ahead and just shadow underneath the white area to start with. And giving that a nice big shadow area underneath there. We can then also just add in maybe the tiniest bit down the edge here, which of course is reflected on the opposite side. And then we'll go back to our colors and grab the middle color in the first column. We'll go ahead and add in a brighter spot here and also on the shoulders as well. And we'll bring that down the actual arm. So we'll brighten up on the top there like so. If we then go to our layers, we go down a layer, we've got the neck. We can then go ahead and tap on that layer. We'll alpha lock it. We're going to go to our colors and we're going to grab the bottom of the third column. And I'm just going to go ahead and sort of shadow underneath. It's probably a little bit large, to be honest, about 5% now. Shadow underneath the neck piece here. And then also going to go ahead and bring in some collarbones as well. So just some collarbones coming in from the side and onto the top. And then we're going to go ahead and go underneath the chin here, blending down, just creating a little bit of a casted shadow underneath the chin onto the neck. Now our subject at this point is all done with. We can go ahead and go to our layers. We can go ahead and start working on the background. So I've tapped on the lowest layer I can and I'm going to create a new layer and drag it underneath that layer. We're going to go ahead and we will go to our colors and we'll grab this color here, the bottom right of the palette, and we only use that blue as temporary. So we're going to drag this onto the screen and fill it in. We'll then go to our colors. We'll grab the top color here in the top right of the palette. We'll go to our brush and go to the soft brush, and with the brush size around about sort of 40%, I'm going to blend in some blue here and just create a very slow gradient. So it's quite dark at the top and it sort of blends slowly towards the blue, but then it's nice and blue down here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go to our brush and go to elements and the clouds brush. The opacity set to 100% and the size currently set to about sort of 41%. I'm going to overlap some of my darker areas with some really light pressure, like so, just to create some very light cloud effect here. Then go back to my colors and grab the bottom right of the palette, the black that sort of sits at the top, the dark blue even, and then just bring in some darker clouds here coming down again. So we're layering them on top of each other, trying to create sort of a gradient of clouds almost. And then go back to the colors again and grab the blue again at the top of the far right column and overlap once more. So now these blues should now be a little bit stronger. You can be a bit more brave with your blues if you want, and really like overlap them up towards the top edge of the canvas. So you create this lovely little gradient effect of clouds. And we're then going to go ahead and go to our colors and grab the top of the fourth column. Grab your brush and go to airbrushing and the soft brush, and then just keep the same size, just sort of blend in a really light, nice snowy white towards the bottom here. Edge to edge, blending that in like so. Then we're going to add some snow, so we're going to go ahead and we can put it at the top, we can put it at the bottom. It's totally up to you. I'm going to put it at the bottom first because we don't want to put too many elements of snow in front of our subject that we're not really in control of. So I'm going to create a new layer first of all that is in front of our background. I'm going to go to my colors and grab the middle color in the far right column. Your brush wants to be set to elements and the driven snow. And as always, I've got 3 different sizes. I've got 13, 44, and 100. And with 100%, we're going to drag down from the top of the screen here and add in some lovely areas of snow. We'll then switch it to 44%, and we'll add in some medium areas of snow, bringing in all these lovely little snowflakes in the sky, falling down. And then you can go ahead and go to the 13% mark here and add in some much needed smaller sizes here and there, and just be in full control of it, of where you sort of drop it. Now, of course, our subject here needs to get some snow in front of them just to create that level of depth. So you could either leave it as a background, or you can go ahead and first of all turn off your guide at the top, create a new layer at the very top. We'll go ahead and then just create a few little areas of snow in front of our subject. So I've got the largest size now. I'm going to drag down. I'm going to go to medium and drag down in front of the hair here and in front of the body. And then I'll grab some small areas of snow as well and just position them where I think is appropriate. You know, we don't want to add in too much with our subject and sort of take away from the work we've done, but sort of involve them in the environment though. So just areas of small snow here and there. And I quite like the odd one just over the face. And now the final little touch to do for our subject is if we go to our layers and we go right to the top and create a new layer. If we go back to our brush and we go back to the option of the inking and the studio pen, with a brush size still of 6%, we're going to create some little sort of cartoony sort of outlines almost. So we'll go down, for example, down here, and you're not clipped, of course, to a layer, so just bear that in mind. I'm going to bring in some areas of sort of white outline just down certain elements of the body. So like down here, down on this edge. I want to give it like a bit of a cartoony look right at the very end. So we've got some nice bright lines down there. We'll go ahead and do the same down the edge of the hair. So you're going to need to very slowly just follow the curvature of your flick of your hair and just let that sort of fade out. You can add another one in the back here. We can add another one on this curl here, just on the inside of the hair. It's not drawing assisted, and that's fine. We can go ahead and go down the edge of the fringe. Now that was a little bit off there. And again, as well, I could have created an arc, to be honest, and then just curve it to match up. But we're going to create a little bit of a curve and let that fade out towards the end, like so. And this is, again, just all in the sort of efforts of trying to make this look a little bit sort of more cartoony. And I think it gives it a really fun effect. Now, we want to make sure our lines are nice and smooth because all the other lines are. So we're going to create like a curve here. Hold your pen down to get a nice straight line. And if you end up with a big blob at the end, just go to your eraser with the soft airbrush, which it has been the whole time, to sort of blend out the edge of the line. Likewise, I could do the same here on the fringe, and I could also do it at the start of the line as well. I could blend out up here too. I could blend out in here and blend out in here. And that should just be enough of those little sort of cartoony lines. In fact, we can add maybe one more on top of the hat here. So in that little crease here, let's go ahead and add in another one. And again, we'll grab our eraser and blend out the edges just to really fade them out. And then you should end up with this really cool cartoony look to it. Now, one adjustment I've made is I've just made the mouth a little bit different in terms of its shape. I've just given it a little bit more smile. It's quite an easy step to obviously redo, but I always keep in my sort of final adjustments towards the end. Another adjustment I'm going to make is to the hair itself at the fringe. So I'm going to grab that layer. I'm going to grab my cursor and just make it a little bit sort of wider here. and also bring out the corner here so it overlaps the tiniest bit onto that right side so that it kind of flows round onto itself. And if I go ahead and grab the layer here for all my white outlines, I'm going to need to go ahead and grab that, make a selection around it, and then do exactly the same. Just warp it into position on top of the hair just so it fits again, and tap on my cursor when I'm done. Another adjustment I potentially would make is making the face maybe a little bit more narrow. You could go ahead and grab the face, grab the cursor, you could bring in the sort of the wideness of the face. You could even just straight up use the freeform option and bring in the face, making it a little bit more narrow. Now, obviously, as a result, you may need to go ahead and move some other layers around. So, for example, the ears, they need to be brought in. So you could grab the ears. You can simply just use freeform just to make them a little bit narrower. They will obviously be a little bit narrower than before. And with that adjustment to the hair as well on the right side. So that extra tiny bit there on the hair, I'm going to bring that in like so. And I'm going to go ahead and also just darken it up right at the top. So I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to go ahead and grab my color and grab the bottom color in the second column. And with a soft airbrush, I'm going to go ahead and just darken that up at the very top as well. So it's really, really dark and sits underneath the fringe a bit more. Zooming out, we've made some lovely adjustments there. And another adjustment I want to make is if I go to my colors and grab the top color in the top right of the palette, and we go back to our background here, I'm just going to simply go ahead and just bring in a little bit more blue, taking down the white a little bit, bringing the white down and making sure that that blue sits right behind our subject. It will help all the colors really pop off. And if I go ahead and turn off my drawing guide and we go ahead and zoom in and we go full screen with 4, we end up with today's finished design. So I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. As always, make sure to tag me in your finished creations over on Instagram. Come and join the community over on Discord and come and share your designs over there. And a massive shout out to all of my supporters over on Patreon who help make these videos possible. I post 3 exclusive tutorials every single month over on my Patreon to Patreon supporters, and the catalogue just continues to grow. So be sure to hit the link in the description down below and come and show your support, have your name featured in videos, get early access to videos, sneak peeks and much, much more. Again, the link will be in the description down below. And if you like this video here on YouTube, you'll probably like this one on the screen now. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful Christmas, and I'll see you in the next one.